In a time not so long ago, the world operated on needs rather than wants. Survival was the name of the game, and desires took a back seat. But then something changed. Behind the scenes, cunning minds tapped into the intricacies of the human subconscious, exploited irrationality, and fueled desires to manipulate the masses, all in the pursuit of profit. And at the forefront of this revolutionary shift stood one man, Edward Bernays, a man whose meticulously crafted persuasion changed America forever. The world we live in today is engulfed by consumerism, the idea that people who consume more goods and services will be better off. This phenomenon is the driving force behind today's global economy and extends far beyond mere transactions. It infiltrates our daily lives, influencing not just what we buy, but also how we perceive ourselves and others. The modern marketplace is a dynamic arena where brands compete not only on the utility of their products, but also on the emotional and psychological connections they forge with consumers. They do this by being extremely pervasive in our interconnected world, reaching us through every screen, billboard, and social media platform. From the moment we wake up to the time we scroll through our devices before sleep, we're bombarded with messages enticing us to desire the latest trends, innovations, and lifestyles. This constant barrage molds our preferences, shaping our identities through the products we choose to associate with. Given this massive impact on our world, it's astonishing that all of it arguably came through the legacy of one man not too long ago. This is the story of Edward Bernays. Picture this. The early 20th century, a time of immense change and innovation. Born into a world on the brink of transformation, Edward Bernays, the nephew of Sigmund Freud, found himself at the intersection of psychology and propaganda. Edward's connection with his uncle, the father of psychoanalysis, would prove instrumental in shaping his worldview. With Freud's insights into the human mind, Edward saw the potential to shape public opinion on a grand scale, especially in bustling urban landscapes. He recognized that by tapping into the depths of human irrationality and desire, he could influence the masses and, in turn, drive economic activity for his clients. This realization marked the beginning of a new era, one where the power to shape public perception was as potent as any political or economic force. One of Edward Bernays' most notable triumphs in this arena was the Torches of Freedom campaign for Lucky Strike cigarettes. In an era where smoking was largely a male-dominated activity, Bernays saw the opportunity to expand the market. Leveraging his understanding of societal dynamics, he positioned smoking as a symbol of women's liberation. The campaign strategically linked cigarette smoking to notions of independence and equality, encouraging women to defy societal norms by lighting up in public. The result was not just an increase in cigarette sales, but a seismic shift in societal attitudes towards smoking, marking the beginning of a trend that would last for decades. However, the biggest psychological shift that Bernays caused was turning people from a needs-based living to a wants-based living. And here's how it started. As America emerged from the shadows of war and embraced the boom of industrialization, something remarkable was happening. Goods were being churned out at record rates, but this surge in production gave birth to a new concern in corporate America, the fear of overproduction and potential losses. Enter Edward Bernays, the maestro of desire, who understood a fundamental truth that eluded many marketers of his time. For most of human history, and especially in the post-war era, people were accustomed to living needs-based lives. Bernays, recognizing the challenge faced by corporations, realized that the key to unlocking greater consumption lay in transforming these need-based lives into want-based lives. To achieve this, he revolutionized the approach to product marketing. It wasn't merely about selling a physical item. It was about selling emotions, weaving narratives that went beyond the utility of a product. For example, one industry grappling with the threat of overproduction was the automobile sector. With mass production in full swing in the 1890s, the market had saturated. Everybody who needed a car essentially had one. Bernays, however, had an ingenious solution: shift the narrative from utility to symbolism. He advised car companies to market their vehicles not as just a means of transportation, but as symbols of masculinity, and it worked like a charm. This strategy gave birth to the era of long-body luxury rides, sports cars, and the introduction of yearly model updates, a concept known as planned obsolescence. By associating cars with status, identity, and the desire for the latest model, Bernays orchestrated a cultural shift that propelled the automobile industry into a new era of prosperity. In another instance, he turned an unappealing color into a marketing triumph. Bernays, however, saw an opportunity to transform perceptions and elevate the color's appeal. In a stroke of marketing genius, he initiated the Green Ball campaign. Bernays orchestrated an event where prominent socialites, celebrities, and influencers were invited to an extravagant ball, with the catch being that everything from decorations to attire had to be green. With the ball itself and all the good press it received in its anticipation, the color green suddenly became synonymous with sophistication, elegance, and high society. All he did was associate the unloved green color with glamour and exclusivity, and people who, as we've established, are emotional creatures and not rational, were sold. Even eggs and bacon, a breakfast in the genes of Americans, was a result of Bernays' master manipulation. A client of his, called the Beechnut Bacon, wanted to sell more bacon. Understanding the power of perception, Bernays took a strategic approach by enlisting the help of physicians. He often used this tactic by planting indirect evidence into the public sphere to directly help his clients. He would employ psychologists to meticulously craft reports about the information he wanted to be mainstream and would then have them published as independent studies. The information, presented as unbiased and scientifically supported, influenced public opinion on what to buy. The cultural shift that Bernays induced soon led to an era of conspicuous consumption that is stronger today than ever. He not only influenced what people bought, but also how they perceived and showcased their acquisitions for status and identity. The legacy of conspicuous consumption extends beyond the material realm, reaching into the very fabric of our individual and collective psyche. In the pursuit of status symbols and the constant need to showcase one's acquisitions, psychological turmoil has unfolded, reshaping how people define success, happiness, and self-worth. The emphasis on what one owns rather than who one is has created a relentless cycle of desire, where the quest for the next coveted item never truly subsides. With this, the deeper, more meaningful aspects of life often take a back seat. Relationships, personal growth, and genuine experiences can be overshadowed by the relentless pursuit of acquiring and displaying possessions. It has led to a society fueled by inadequacy and envy. There isn't just the stress of keeping up with societal expectations, but also the emotional toll of never feeling truly satisfied. And social media has made it all the worse. It amplifies everything, creating a curated showcase of seemingly perfect lives centered around possessions. So, what can be done? Consumerism is as much of a part of reality as the air we breathe. Then how can people cut out the noise? The solution, first off, is to be aware. It's like having a sixth sense. Question what is seen, heard, and read. Not everything that glitters is gold. and not every product will revolutionize our lives. Secondly, dive into the why. Why do we want that shiny new thing? Is it because it genuinely adds value to our lives? Or have we been nudged by some clever ad? Understanding our motivations can be a game changer. And lastly, remember that we're in the driver's seat. We have the power to choose what influences us. We must be intentional about the messages we let into our lives.